Everybody, did this make it better? And today we're doing this one. Sorry for the long wait, but I did make sure it was actually perfect to the T for me. Yeah! But really, let's just get into it. Last time I left off was Nezu and Zuko going over to UA. I forget if it was yes, it is a college. Yes, it is a college. Just to make sure I did which story I'm doing. Now, as he gets over to the college, Nezu shows him around and all the teachers that are working there. And it's all, everything in there, in the college itself, is meant for preparing to be a hero or be a very great person in the future, which Zuko was being told by Nezu. Now, Nezu telling him each and every room, giving him a tour of the room and the teacher that's in will hold it. Sometimes they'll change, but most of it will stay the same, as he be introduced by his main teachers. And Zuko doesn't understand by this. Nezu said, well, with your particular history, I believe it would be best for you to stay here and learn a lot from our teachers, our staff, which Zuko is grateful for, and he meets up with each and every teacher. Aizawa, D Blood, the one that's Class B. Miss Midnight. Who else? Those will be the main. Cementos and Plasma Clone. I'm not sure what his name was, but not sick, just something stuck in my throat. Moving on. So Zuko is meeting with them, and it seems very nice. As he gets a stomach growling, Nezu said, "Oh, I see. It's already that time. Alright, come along." As he takes him to his quarters. Zuko looks around and sees it's very small, but makes sense because of his truck out of nowhere just came by and made a big sound. It was annoying. Back into the story. And they actually, Nezu show him around the house and the living quarters for Zuko. Zuko appreciates all this and eats some food with Nezu. I'll move on to a time skip. He was originally turned 12 by the time that Nezu met with him, and that's 3 years has passed. And during those 3 years, Zuko have opened up quite a bit, but not that much. Well, let me do 2 years in first. As 2 years gone in, he's been fighting with and training with each and every teachers. Each of them are a pro hero and different skill sets. The guy that's in the support class or and do the hero support gear was training Zuko at that time, which Nezu was on the background just saying some things to make sure Zuko was focused on this training. Now Nezu put these mannequins out on the side, and these are the hostage that this very teacher is using. And Zuko is really into the zone to the point where he actually thinks these are real people. Sorry, I just ate dinner. And Zuko is thinking to go faster. He's getting shot with a bunch of rocks, almost bullets, but a bunch of rocks, boulders, and even buildings. And they're going everywhere, and he's not going fast enough with his tail. So he just is thinking faster, faster. He needs to get faster until something started to come out of his back. Wasn't like his tail. It was more red hot flames coming out of it. And after they finally dissipate and showed something come out, this is what it was showing. Nezu was surprised that Zuko developed another skill, another quirk. But Zuko feels natural with this one. And when he took a step and did a flap with his wings, he immediately runs faster, flies almost. He's gliding just like 2 inches off the road, but he's going fast. And so fast that he actually caught the 2 civilians, mannequins, out of the way and defeated by putting either capture tape or knock him out for that time being. After he awakens, Zuko is still looking at his wings now and see if he can touch it, and he does, and he feels everything. It feels so goddamn weird. Let me explain. If you ever had a sleeping foot, your foot is sleeping, and when you move it, it starts having those pains and needles coming through it. That's exactly what Zuko feels every time he put his hand through it. And when Nezu touch it lightly, Zuko just flinches completely out of the way, and Nezu said, "Oh, I'm sorry." But does that feel? And Zuko explain the feeling, and Nezu gets it completely. But Zuko at this point doesn't like it. He's trying his best not to touch his wings because that feeling is the worst. But moving on for that little instant. Now, Zuko developed that I believe it's this one. The top left, yeah. It's the one, it will show a dot for his shoulder blades, and that's where his wings will come out. The other one, the original, was this one, and the one on the bottom right. That's for his tail, the truly strongest of them all. There was another one, but it's basically just a weaker form of the one that Zuko originally have. Now, after that one, a year has passed, and Zuko is fighting against 2 pro heroes, and one of them is Cementos. At this point, Zuko has developed quite well and properly, working with his tail and transferring it to his wings, and it's working perfectly. But he's going to an area and he's trapped in all ways. He can't fly up high enough. He can't use his tail to climb any walls to the top. So he's stuck there and sees Cementos pouring in a bunch of cement towards him. And Zuko does not know how to do this. And he thinks of armor. And he just hopes that it will work. So he put down, did a huge punch towards the cement, and this what came up. His tail-like, ability started to wrap around his arm tightly, almost smooth as well. But right when he hit the concrete, it started to turn. The concrete started to dissipate or disappear by Zuko's defense becoming the perfect offense and destroying that very hole and making enough space for Zuko to crawl through and hitting Cementos and the other pro hero. This is Zuko's first quirk. First ability, second and third. Back onto this one. Now all that has happened, and it's going to be the end of the the years. And during these times, in his free time, well, he actually took classes in UA. And at first it was tough that he had to learn from the very beginning to now. And Nezu helped him quite a lot about all of this, the history, everything. And, well, Nezu was talking to Zuko at dinner time, asking Zuko what is his plans and now. And Zuko just confusedly said, what do you mean? Like, same thing as always? What were you thinking of? And Nezu said, young man, you really need to think more about your future. Do you want to be like a hero? Do you want to be a principal? What do you want to do in the future? And Zuko said, I really don't know. This feels so comfortable right now. As Zuko, well, Nezu said, okay, I'll give you a choice. If you ever choose to come and become a hero, a pro hero, you must have to at very least have a high school degree. And I cannot make you one, but you have to go to a school for this. And Zuko said, but I don't like people. How do I know I can trust these things, these humans? And Nezu said, kind of chuckled, said, you are also a human. And Zuko said, you know what I mean. And Nezu said, yes, I do. I will find a school that will be safe, many secure in place for no one to ever hurt you. If I hear a word of it or see it happen, I'll make sure they never be going to any pro hero schools or colleges. As Zuko said, okay, thank you. What do I do in a high school? And Nezu said basically the same thing here, but it will be all timed. So you must wake up early for this. And Zuko said, how early? Will it interrupt my 8-hour nap after my rest? And Nezu said yes, it will. Which Zuko said, do I have to? Which Nezu said yes, you have to. Originally, I was gonna do 1 year, but I don't know, maybe you make some friends. And maybe be able to talk with regular people. When you become a pro hero, you need to actually talk to reporters and not be aggressive about it. Do you understand? And Zuko said, as he drinks the last sip of his tea, said, yes, I do. When do we start? He knows to himself that Nezu has thought through every possibility and every action that would be perfect. And Zuko, of course, realizing all of this, just agreed to him, which Nezu greatly appreciates, and said it will start in this time 2 years 2 years in. So Zuko was told about this 2 years ago. So he was 15, 16, and 17. Whoa. I'm not sure if that's right or not. No, I don't know. Okay, let me explain. I do not know if this was right or not. It's because I failed 2 grades, and that basically made me the oldest in my class. So in high school, I was basically way older than everybody else, and I just don't understand like juniors, seniors. I don't know. I just don't understand these titles at all. It's nothing I can ever understood or ever will. I do not care for it. Same thing with like in college. I just juniors, seniors, all that shit. I just don't care. So Zuku, he was still training, but it was more because Nezu wanted to make sure that Zuko have a handle of his quirk before he showed it to other people. And Zuko, why am I getting hiccups now? And Zuko, well, he went through with all of it to make sure his tail is strong enough and will withstand longer than his usual time. His wings, after training with it and having people go through his wings many times, he started to get used to it. He can never get rid of the feeling, but he had to get used to it. And then with his armor, his defense, he have it on his both. He can control it from right hand to left hand, and just kept going there. And that is when well, I'm so tired. Golly, it's not that light. Is it? No, it's not. Oh, damn. Okay, here we go. So 2 years already passed. And this will be of course, this is for America high schools. So 4 years, they're already into. Everybody have already been acquainted with in this very high school. Zuko, well, he went over by himself. He already have the instructions and directions to get there and how to behave properly. But Zuko, in his head, saying it's so too damn early. So tired. As he just complains about all of this in his head and gets over to the office, do the paperwork that he was assigned to, and learns that, well, they learn, the teachers, that Zuko's actually very smart. So he's taken to the very top class, A. Everybody will see it down and being proper and all. And the teacher announced that there will be a new student to be coming today. Please be warm and welcoming to our new student. As he give him a signal to come in, Zuko finally comes in, and his hairstyle, and he's wearing glasses along with his uniform, and it looks very nice and, well, kind of proper in this type of term. After Zuko looks around, and he was told to introduce himself as well as his quirk, and Zuko said, my name is Zuko Midoriya. It's still hard for him to say his last name. And my quirk is mutant. As the teacher asked him, can you specify about your quirk? And Zuko said no. As he walks off into the seat. As the teacher said, yeah, you can take that one. Another troublesome kid. As he turns around and starts the lesson. Zuko sits down, and some people are trying to talk to him, but the teacher told them to silence in the classroom because he's teaching right now. And the moment that he sits on the table, he feels uncomfortable, just barely. But when he looks around and looks to the teacher, he's teaching us some kind of lesson that's way too easy for him now, he decided to go sleep throughout the whole class. And the teacher said nothing. Well, couldn't say anything because this kid was recommended by a very powerful man. Or animal, whatever that thing is. So he just allowed it. Now Zuko, during his sleep, is feeling a little more relaxed. But when class was over and it was a resting period, he was rudely awakened by a guy in glasses. He looks up to him and said, "What do you want?" As he finally opens his eyes and sees a man with glasses and blue hair. And he said, "Hello, my name is Ida. I'm the class representative, vice representative, and you should not be doing this during class or even in school. It's very rude to the teachers and the predecessors of our classroom." As Zuko is just nodding his head as he's trying to rub his eyes to stay awake for this moment, and just says, "Dude, you're so annoying." Which, that comment gave a chuckle for the rest of the classmates that were there, hearing this and watching all of that, because Ida is very annoying with all the rules and sticklers to it. Which Ida gets pushed back a bit by some of his other friends, and another person came by and asked, "Hello, I'm the class the class president, Momo Yadaruzu." And Zuko said, "Okay. Good morning." As he actually yawns and said it. And Momo said, "Yes, but it's very rude for you to sleep during the classroom. So if you don't mind, would you stay awake for the rest of the class? And how about this? You can sleep during lunch." And Zuko said, "What time is lunch?" And she said the amount of time and how long it would take. And Zuko said, "Oh, sure, I'll try." Which Momo greatly appreciated. And she said this, "I greatly appreciate you helping with this situation." And Zuko says, Sure. As he gets more awake after some sun hits his face, he looks around and sees a few other people. Not that great. He can tell by most of them that they might get into UA just by the way they act and, well, special stuff. He already left an impression towards the classroom that he didn't really care for the class or the study of any of things. And when it came to lunch, he was over at one special table. And some people are talking about this new kid and how brave he is for staying in that table. Zuko did not care, and he was just going to eat some melon bread. I believe that's what they call it. As he took a bite, he was told from the back that "You're in my spot. Can you move?" And Zuko looks back, sees this kid with red and white hair, said, "No. It's a perfect amount of sunlight." And Todoroki said, "Fine," as he moves to the next seat and sits right next to him and he eats lunch like nothing happened. Which people are surprised and shocked that he just talked to Endeavor's son and not be scared of him. These are all the classmates that's under or below them and don't know anything. Just know their names. That's it. Zuko went back to his lunch and went to sleep. After he awakens, after there'll be 10 more minutes for lunch and then they have to get back, Todoroki asks him, Are you okay? Something happened with family. Just be quiet about that. As Zuko said, yeah, as he stretched and said, it's too early for this. As Todoroki said, yeah, it's kind of early about this, but we had to do it. Zuko said, yeah, so what's your name? I saw you in class, but I just didn't care to ask. As Todoroki said, I'm Todoroki Shoto. And he said, oh, Zuko Midoriya. Well, he said Zuko Midoriya. There was a pause, and Shoto was going to ask a question about that pause, but decided not to, because most people, god damn it, fucking shit, would basically be rude about it, or he just didn't care enough to ask. So that happened, and they were walking over to class. Now, someone in the background is watching them, and she is a little jealous that he gets to talk to him like that, and she has been trying for years to talk to him like that. But she has to keep a straight face and not show emotion. Her very best Shoto impression. After that, Zuko became friends with, well, on a very thin line with Ida, with everything. Somewhat of a good relationship with Momo, and actually friends with Shoto, which Zuko kind of appreciates, and seeing how Shoto is just chill and doesn't really mind how he's acting, nor how anybody else is acting. So it's a pretty good spot. Now, a few weeks has passed by, and they're starting to learn that Zuko is not an average student. He is very good in every single testing, almost matching perfectly or even higher than Momo, which annoys her just a bit because she tried her very best and pay attention to everything, and she just looks over to his spot and he's sleeping through every single classroom. He said he would promise, but nope, he is not doing a damn thing. He is still sleeping through every single class. And Ida gave up after the 5th attempt on the 5th day. Golly, too many informations. Because at that time, Zuko showed him that he does the work, and he does it so well that he doesn't need to pay attention to class, which Ida is sadly defeated for the time. Ow. Oh, that hurt. Moving on. I'm thinking if I should stop it now or keep going. How the future is like. Am I keep going? I think I am. Back onto it. Here we go. After that, he was given the same relationship as I said before. Now it's going over to the next year. They're all in the same class, 4th year, last year, and now they're talking about their futures, what they want to do in the life. Zuko doesn't really care for this. He just put it down, pro hero, and sent it. At this time, no one really knows what Zuko's quirk is. They are starting to start rumors that he doesn't have a quirk. He just lie about it to not be deemed quirkless. And Shoto hears all of this, and since he's actually good friends, and released some layers of himself he actually asked Zuko directly. After lunch, they go over into a very private area and ask Zuko what exactly is your quirk. And Zuko said, golly, too many people. Where was I? Here we go. Zuko showed him, well, he just let down, well, he pulled up his shirt, which Shoto is a little confused by, but allow it. And Zuko said, this tail, as he grows it out small enough where Todoroki could see it, but quickly retracts it and put it back in. And Todoroki asked, can he see it? What the fuck? Okay, let me explain. I do not get information nor text messages that often, and I get annoyed by them quickly. With that said, that is why you can hear me say what the fuck towards that very comment. Because it was so many and I just didn't care for it. I had to be in it for family reasons, but I did not care for it. With that said, I'm sorry. I just needed to let that out. Here we go again. Hopefully no interruptions. Where was I? I can't remember anymore. As Todoroki asked him if he could see it a little longer. And Zuko said, sure. He expected this, but he didn't expect it to come up so immediately. So he grows it a little longer for Todoroki to see the tail. It shows it's just one right now because he's not using it for anything. And it shows how muscular but flexible it is. Which Todoroki is very amazed by this and asks if he could touch it. Zuko would greatly appreciate if he doesn't touch it, which Todoroki was too close to it and already touched it. And Zuko leaves out a little moan. Well, oof, god damn it. And Todoroki immediately backs up and says, sorry, was that a sensitive spot? Which Zuko said, not exactly, it had to, let's just not talk about it. I just don't feel comfortable. Which Todoroki understood, and, well, they have their lunch in that little area. It was out of the way for many people, and most of them did not see anything, but one girl did. She saw the tail coming out of his back, and it showed a flower of sorts. It was blooming from his back, and then a tail immediately come out of it with red, black, and blue lining around it. She thought it was a little weird, but she was more grossed out because it's from Izuku. Oh, got the broken one too. Shit. That's funny. Alright, back to it. Why am I getting so uncomfortable? Maybe because of the next scene. Back to it. Now, Zuko was asked by many people in his classroom to go out and hang out in the mall. And Zuko at first was about to disagree, not to go to it at all. He didn't really want to because it was going to be training with his father, and it would be better there than here. He was about to say no. Oop, no, don't see that, please. Shit. Hopefully no one saw that. Anyway, hopefully no one saw that. God damn it. Anyway, Where was I? Damn it. He was about to say no. But Todoroki actually offered him to show him around the mall. It's actually a pretty good spot. Momo actually come in and ask if she would be okay if she went along. Ila said if he would like to get along with it, and it's getting bigger and bigger to a point where the whole classroom is going at the same time. Which Zuko don't like big crowds, but he had to practice with a lot of things too. So he allows this. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll go to wherever that they go. Later down on the day, they are getting out of school and they're going over to a mall. The way of going there is different and they meet up different times. The whole classroom meets up in one area with a fountain coming out of it, and they're starting to separate in smaller groups, which Zuko did not understand why the big party if it's just going to separate in smaller groups. He asked the same thing to Todoroki, and Todoroki said, yeah, I don't understand it either, but let's just move on. As he goes along with Todoroki to see that Todoroki actually likes Soba so much that he will show his very spot to Zuko. Zuko eats it and said, yeah, it's pretty good, I guess. It's nothing special, I guess. Todoroki said, well, yeah, it's soba. You can just add anything you want to it. And Todoroki shows him many other ways of preparing it, and well, since he loves soba, he knows every single way of preparing it, cooking it, seasoning it, and the best way of eating it. Which Zuko did not mind, but never seen Todoroki be this, well, informational and like happy about it. Something like this. But later down, Todoroki needs to leave because he had to get back home with his siblings, which Zuko understood and left and said bye. He saw some of his classmates, but they were also leaving, and he felt like he should just walk around the mall again a little bit more to get used to the crowd. As he was getting to one area, he hears a ruckus, and it seems like it was a crashing glass and gunshots. And Zuko, at this moment, started to run towards the area. Took off his tie, over his first jacket that's covering him, and immediately sprint towards the area. And what he saw was a hostage situation of a villain taking the hostage, putting a gunpoint to her head, and telling everybody to sit down, be quiet, or she will get it. He's yelling demands that he wants a cop car. Well, he wants a helicopter, $1 million, and a safe way home. And he's saying this to everybody until a hero gets by. Zuko he's getting a little pissed because of how stupid the demands are, but also that he has to act like a hero in front of a crowd, which he freaking hates, in the daylight, no less. Zuko is depending on doing one or another, saying yes and saying no, back and forth, and this guy sees Zuko acting like this and said, you kid, stop that. That's freaking annoying. And put your hands up and face down on the floor. Zuko said, fuck it. He actually said that. And said, as he raised his hand slowly, but he slowly starts walking towards the guy. The guy is getting a little freaked out and starts to point a gun towards the girl. The girl is freaking out and she's a little scared, and she was asking where the Todoroki is. As Zuko says nothing and just walks slowly towards him, to a point where she's actually getting pointed by the gun, and he was starting to move his trigger. Zuko said, "Okay, okay, uh, as he starts to speak another language and asking what's going on. He's saying it in English. What do I do? What do I do?" As she answered him in, well, English, just don't move. He tells he as the guy is getting more frustrated that they're communicating in the same language and pissing him off. Speak Japanese, god damn it. As Zuko said, I don't know what you're, as in broken Japanese, acting perfectly. As the man gets tapped by his buddy and started to look away and as was talking to this guy, Zuko took this chance, sprout out wings from back up on his back fast enough. In this moment of second, the girl saw Zuko dash towards her in a flash, immediately got picked up and put down like nothing happened. As she was about to say, "Why did you do that?" he turned around, turned his arm into a shield, covered it in front of the girl, and the guy shot 3 bullets at him, which stayed onto Zuko's scale or arm. Zuko, whiplash, grows his tail and start whipping it towards the guy. The guys that were shooting it with guns, and Zuko was letting it get hit on his tail for no one else to take in the ricochet of them. And he's going faster and faster, growing more tails out off his back. About 5 tails are coming out of his back and protecting him. He's having another tail going further out longer and grabbing onto one of the guy's buddies, strangling him and making him go unconscious and dropping him. And he's doing the next one to the other guy. And the last one, the third one, the main gunner, was shooting as much bullets as he can until he runs out. And when he finally runs out, Zuko transitions to his wings, goes straight towards the guy, smack him, basically a bitch slap, so hard that he turned around twice and fell on the floor. Everybody's cheering on how he did this, and Zuko is holding him down, putting on makeshift handcuffs by his shirt, ripping it up, and tying him very tightly to make sure he stays like that. And he did the same thing to his 2 other buddies, and tying them together and making sure that they can't move an inch. After all of this is happening and the crowd is watching this, as well as the girl, Zuko finally retracts his tails, and as they do, the bullets are falling off of them. Each and every one of them is falling off, and blood is starting to fall off as well. And the girl sees this and asks if he's okay. "Zuko, are you okay? It seems like those punctured your tail." And Zuko looks over to Momo and said, "I'm fine. It hurts, but I'm fine. Can someone please call the police station?" As someone already did, and the moment that he asked, they finally came by. See what has happened, and was going to yell at the kid, but Zuko waved a picture of his father, and that gave them all the information they need. I said, "Oh, I see. Thank you for your service. We'll take care of this." "Yes, sir." And Zuko put down his phone and, was walking towards a restroom. As Momo actually went by after helping with the civilians and making sure they're safe, as went towards the bathroom, and Zuko, she can hear him puking And she was kind of worried. So she went over to Zuko's the restroom, and she sees him puking blood. And she leaned down on the sink, almost to the floor. And at the first time ever, she sees how tired he really is just from that interaction. And she asks him if he's okay, if she can get him anything else. Zuko said, "Can you please be quiet? Let me. Alright, I can do that. God damn it, I can't. Don't like this." As he says this in a quiet tone, he still has his eyes closed. He grabbed onto his index finger, cracked it, and to Momo's horror, Zuko pulled his finger off of his hand. And Zuko started eating on his own finger until he finally swallows it, the whole thing. Momo is terrified, weirded out, and don't know what to do as she's just stood there in shock. Zuko said, "Finally, some food." As Momo said her and food, she decided to go over and get some food. She already had some food that she had on her purse, and finally got it and grabbed it, went over, saw Zuko still laying there kind of tired, and as she was about to reach down and get the food that she got for herself to go, she looked over to his hand that was like bleeding out and was about to create a bandage to cover it, and to her surprise, his hand, the finger that he pulled it out to, the finger regrew. Which Momo is a little shocked because she thought he had a mutant quirk. So how can that? And she's so confused and wants to ask the question, but she needs to make sure he's okay and safe. So she grabs her food and starts feeding him the food slowly. And Zuko just eats it and swallows the whole thing. After a few minutes of Zuko sleeping, he finally awakens and looks and sees that it was Momo that is still sitting there, just covering up his shirt because it's torn with her creative shirt. As Zuko said, "Oh, are you okay? Are you hurt or anything?" As he coughed up another bullet out of into his own hand, and said, "Finally got that one out." Ah, shit, I hated those things. As Momo looks down on his hand and sees a bullet still that's covered in blood, but still in him. And she has so many questions, so many. But she ignored them and asked him if he's okay. And Zuko said, "Yeah." Like, oh my. He grabbed onto his chest and said, "Oh my god, that feels so much better." And then finally, Zuko said this out loud. "Damn, eating my own finger did really help." That felt so weird though. As Momo had enough and asked him, "What exactly is your quirk?" And Zuko said, "Oh, it's mutant. Nothing else." And she said, "No. Can you please explain to me what exactly is your quirk to do all of this?" And Zuko said, isn't it rude to ask someone in pain about their quirk after that situation?" And Momo said, "So is that a no?" As Zuko said, "Yeah, it's a no." As Momo said, "Okay, fine. As she asked him what size of a shirt he wears, he said extra large. He asked her why, and she took off her sleeve up to her shoulder as she created a shirt, a plain white shirt, to cover him up since he's completely bare, chested, and all of his shirts are ripped up. As he gets covered by it, and Momo grabs her stuff and leaves. As she was finally leaving, she realized that she was looking at him watching him sleep with no shirt on. And that gave her a slight blush across her face. She ignored it and went back home. Zuko, after that moment, got back up and he was given a call by his father, Nezu. Nezu asked him what has happened and he was given the details, but he wanted to see Zuko's side of the story. Zuko told him his side and then the after effects of shielding all those bullets. And Nezu said, "Oh, I see. So I guess we need to train on your tail's endurance on those type of things." Zuko said, "Yeah." And Nezu said, "You know what this means?" And Zuko said, "Yes, I do." "That means you're going to shoot me until I make it harder." And Nezu said, "Yes. Now I'll expect you to come in home this time with some food." Zuko said, "Sure. The usual?" And Nezu said, "Yes, the usual." As Zuko went over and gets the food. Moving on to Momo, she entered through her home, all, in a mess, and her mother actually came by. As her mother hugged her and checked if she was okay and everything, saw she was ripped up and asked if she was okay. Momo was kind of surprised by this and asking why is she asking this, and she saw on the news that she was taken in hostage by these criminals, and they saw a video. And Momo said, "Someone took a video? What did you see?" And she said at the very beginning that you got caught by some guy with a gun pointing to your head or to your side. To your head and then your side. And requesting all of this stuff. And then some guy came by with no shirt with beautiful wings. As Momo gets to see the video, and all she saw was Zuko, not the wings itself, nor even the tails. And it was actually pretty. And his wings looked so like fire, but yet like feathers. His tail was in different colors, but it seemed so strong. And Momo asked her mother, would it be bad if I liked a guy? And her mother said, "No, it won't be a trouble as long as your father is okay with it and look through his history. We don't see anything wrong. What are you asking, honey?" And Momo said, Nothing. She knew all the measures that her father does all this time, so that she had a crush on someone else, but she was too afraid or too developed in her own head that she needs to be perfect for him. But what if she goes after him? Moving on to the next scene, Zuko is now coughing up blood and bullets from his mouth because Nezu now sees the after effects of shooting him so many times. Zuko was able to repel or even held on to the very bullet and then push it right back with no puncture wounds on it, on his very tail. which Nezu is very grateful for, but sees the after effects with so many other bullets going through him absorbing everything on his tail, him puking up rest of the bullets. And Nezu tells him, we really need to train on this more. I'm going to have you out of school for a whole week for you to properly be trained. Which Izuku said, I understand. Love you. As Nezu said, I love you too. Let's get back into it. Now Zuko, well, everybody else in class was talking about the video they saw of how strong and how amazing Zuko is with his quirk and how he just defended and helped out Momo get away from that situation. Which they asked Momo how she felt about all this, and she explained about how it was a little weird and scary at the same time, but she couldn't use her quirk or she would have been easily shot at. And they are asking Todoroki where was he, and he said he left just a moment ago. But they were asking where Zuko is at, and they haven't seen him in a week, in 2 weeks, and then a whole month passed, and they're starting to. Well, Momo and Todoroki start to get worried, and ask the teacher if any news for Zuko to come back, and he got nothing to say. He wasn't sent to a hospital or was moving out. He just didn't show. So they had to take it as it was until the next day. Zuko finally gets back into class, walks in as if it was normal, and that everybody was watching him, and he went straight to sleep. Ida was the one that did not see anything, nor the news, was about to march towards him. And everybody saw the direction he was looking at, and they all told him to not do it. Which he was a little confused why they would do such a thing. And they showed him the video. Saw it. Learned why he wasn't in school for a whole month. And said nothing. Now when Momo finally gets into class and Todoroki gets in, they get to their seats, not really looking over to that side. But the classroom's a little quieter than usual. They're looking around toward the right, the front, even the back. And they're all quiet and looking towards one area. They looked over and see Zuko sleeping on his table like it never happened. They both yelled, Zuko! And Zuko actually shocked awake. Said, what? And he looks up and said, oh. Hey Todoroki. Morning, Momo. As Todoroki went over to him and asked him, why didn't you come over to school for a whole month? As Momo said, yeah, that. Why didn't you, come over? Zuko said, can I just take my rest? I'll answer it later. He goes back to sleep and put on some earmuffs. And they decided, yeah, let's wait until he gets some sleep. Because usually in this state, he doesn't even answer the teacher's questions. So what hope do they have? Moving on to the next scene, Zuko hears the last bell, and that's lunchtime. He wakes up and was going over, but he was approached by Momo and Todoroki and basically everybody else in the classroom asking what happened to him during the whole month. And Zuko said, I had to train my quirk to make it stronger. And my dad, he's trying to think of a best way to answer without giving it away, but he said, yeah, that's basically it. I just need to train a little harder. It was like a surprise training. As Todoroki's not letting up on the question answered, his question answered, and Momo is not either. So when everybody finally leaves and get their lunch, Zuko was left with Momo and Todoroki, and they both asked him what really happened. And Zuko said, "If I answer, would you stop asking?" If Todoroki said, "Yeah," Momo said, "I have more questions about your quirk." And Zuko said, "Let's make a deal. I'll tell you the reason, I'll answer your questions, but you have to buy me lunch." As he looks over to Momo. And Todoroki has no real questions, but he wants to stay to hear the answers. As Momo said, "That sounds like a fair deal. What do you want to eat?" Zuko said his item, the most expensive one there, with 3 extra sides and 3 other meals as well. He's very hungry. As Momo kind of understands this because she do it to herself as well. Ordered 2 meals instead of 3. Zuko answered by saying, "Well, I did train the whole month, but it was more because my father wanted to make sure that I would not go out of control or get injured by that situation again. He's very particular about how strong my quirk is, but also how weak it can be to others." Which Todoroki accepted this answer, and he was going over and get his lunch. But when this happened, Momo asked him about the finger thing. Zuko said, "That one. My quirk is called mutant because like the tail thing came out, but I developed another kind of quirk ability towards it, and calling that quirk a tail wing quirk did not really sound correctly. Didn't fit towards the thing. He's trying to make up a story about this all, but the real reason is because the doctors called it an X gene, and he has bad memories about it. So he just called himself a mutant. Be easier to remember, and it's different from everybody else. So he say, the finger thing, that was actually my first quirk. And she said, "First quirk? Are those other things as well your other quirks?" And Zuko said, "Yeah, you can say something about like that. Basically, I just eat my own flesh and I just develop new quirks." As he's trying his best to lie and not give out too much information. As she asks more questions about why did he do such a thing, why would he disobey those their questions, and everything else about the incident. And Zuko said, I just didn't want to see a student from my classroom to get hurt in such a way again." And Izuku realized what he said again, and Momo asked him again, "Did something like this happen before? Did someone you know actually get hurt?" As she asked more questions, and Izuku said, no more questions. I'm a little hungry, can we just eat?" He eats his food very slowly, and was told her that after he finished his meal, he would answer more questions. But he said it this way, so he ate the food very, very slowly. Where Momo realized what he's doing, and she asked him some questions, and Zuko's saying it with his mouth full of food, that Momo said, "Stop, I can't. Okay, I'll stop." Izuku got out of that little situation. Now, because of that day, Momo and Zuko, as well as Todoroki, started to hang out at the same time, but not after school because they all had to go home early and train. It's getting close to the end of the year, and they're wondering what they are going to be doing today. They were all taken towards a school moratorium meeting for the last years, and they were told that they had to do a final test on their abilities before they can be sent out to their choice of college, which was weird, but they kind of had to do it. So they all did it. Zuko was actually the first, Momo is the second, Todoroki is the third, Ida the fourth, the other guys and more are fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and so on. And they are just showing the ranking of how great their students are, and none of their tests has lead them astray, as they were pushed forth to the next school year. Now, yeah, I'm going to end it at this point. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day, and I hope you enjoy this part. Bye.